Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to our February program meeting for the South Central Texas chapter. And I'm Jamie Sagan, and just want to welcome you to a nice, fun evening in which we learn about our chapter benefits, a little bit about our mini conference, and we'll have some time to just chit chat and relax and wind down for the evening. So just a little bit about what we'll cover today. I've already welcomed everyone. We'll go over chapter benefits. And then again, with the mini conference, we'll talk a little bit about what to expect, call for proposals, and we'll even hear from one of our members regarding his experience in presenting, because we are currently looking for presenters for our conference. We'll also let you know what's coming up within our chapter in the next month. And then, of course, some sharing time. Now, everything will be recorded except for the chit chat time. That way we want to keep it loose and informal and, respect people's privacy. So we will record only the business portion of our meeting tonight. So a little bit about chapter benefits, and everyone who's on the line, please feel free to pipe in if I miss anything, or if there's something that you're very passionate about and want to share with us. So first of all, if you're a member of our chapter, the South Central Texas chapter, you get to enjoy a lot of benefits as a member. And we have the website right here to visit. We'll have these slides, and then we'll have these links available as well. But if you visit our website and visit the chapter benefits section, as you can see here, we did a screen grab of the different things that you can enjoy. And a couple of things that I want to point out especially are our CPTC exam reimbursement. So this is the exam to become a certified technical communicator professional. So if you take the exam, you fill out a form and you get reimbursed for half the cost of the exam. And I believe the exam is about $250, something like that. So that's a good chunk of change right there. You get at least half of that back. And of course, you get access to free webinars and workshops, including to our annual mini conference. So that's a $30 value right there. A day long of education and fun and learning about different TechCom topics. Another thing I wanted to bring up is our new TechCom Office Hours Discord community. So for those of you who are not familiar with Discord, it is a social media platform that's primarily used by young folks and students and other generations. And it's basically a social media community that covers all sorts of different topics. And so we decided to join primarily to attract not just students, but anyone who's new to the TechCom field, or even if you're experienced and have questions. This is just a great way to drop by and pick people's brains and get ideas from. So we have the information on our website about Discord. So it'll give you information on how to join and how to access it. And it's really cool because it's very similar to Slack. So if you're already familiar with Slack, you have an idea already of how Discord works. But this is just another tool for us to be available to our members. And then we have plenty of volunteer experiences to where you can help build your resume and help us at the same time. So just go ahead and check out our website, STC SOCENTX.org, and just feel free to visit. So those are some of our chapter benefits. Anything that we hadn't covered, or anything y'all want to talk about? Questions?
Julia, I can't hear you. Can anyone hear Julia?
I can't hear Julia.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. I was asking if the webpage, the chapter webpage, has the credentials that you need to log on to Discord.
You don't need credentials, so you just need to have a Discord. I mean, you need to sign up for an account with Discord.
Okay, is there information on the webpage about how to do that, or a link to Discord or anything like that?
Is that a link? The Discord? I thought that was a link.
I believe it is a link. This is just a static page right here, but if you go to the actual
Yeah.
chapter benefits page, Discord is a link.
Okay, that's fine then.
So it
Thank
should
you.
take you to whatever you need.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. That's a good question because, Discord is relatively new and we just want to make sure that people are familiar with the tool and its use. Any other questions or anything else about our chapter benefits?
Well, I, for one, would like to say that I really appreciate the networking capability. I know many of us are in different industries doing different types of documentation. And even though I may not ever enter those types of industries or do those types of documentation, it's interesting to find out what other people are doing, what their struggles and aspirations are and their successes. The things you don't find out by just being by yourself. So the networking and social meetups is very valuable.
I agree. And then speaking from my perspective, I'm in San Antonio. Most of y'all are probably in Houston. So I don't get to see people that often. And well, especially in the past couple of years, we haven't. But in any case, it's nice that we have an online platform in which we can share and see each other's faces. And to Noel's point, be able to share about all the different types of work that we do and even learn about the tools. It was like when I attended Cindy Powell's workshop last year about RoboHelp. I've never used RoboHelp, but the things that I learned from the workshop, I could apply to the tools I currently use. And so, that in itself is just very valuable.
I, for one, have benefited greatly because now I can spell XML.
You be careful. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Okay.
And if I were in the office right now, I'd actually hit some drums.
I'll say also, as far as jobs, definitely join I believe our LinkedIn group, you have to request to join, but we're pretty good about letting people join once they request. And then there are quite a few jobs posted. Tom Foster hears about lots of jobs and posts them on LinkedIn and Facebook. Robert Delwood has been posting a lot on Discord too. So get on Discord and there's a jobs, well, they call it a channel. I'm not sure what they call it in Discord. There's a section for jobs. So.
Yeah, because I know Slack uses channels and I think they use server to talk about the space in general.
I don't know.
I don't know either. So we may use some terms interchangeably, but you kind of get the basis of what we're talking about.
But yes, so once you're on Discord, there are quite a few jobs posted as well.
And we thank everyone that, contribute to that, as Laura mentioned earlier, because if it wasn't for y'all out there, we would not be the thriving community that we are. So this is wonderful that we're all able to share this information with each other because we're all technical communicators. We're all a team. So this is wonderful. So these are just, some of the many benefits, not just the ones listed here, but the ones that we've experienced ourselves. So, this is really good to remember.
And I would say also, if you're new to the field, either because you're new to career in general or because you're pivoting, as many people are now, if you're trying to make a career change, it's good to talk to other professionals in the field at meetings like these and get tips and hear about jobs and different skills you might use. So I definitely think, as a newcomer in the field, you could learn quite a bit.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point. So in addition to all these wonderful chapter benefits, we want to hone in on one in particular, our mini conference 2022, our third annual conference. So we're going to share a little bit about what to expect during the mini conference. We'll have one of our members share his experience with presenting at our mini conference from last year. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about call for proposals, which is currently going on. So our mini conference is next month on Saturday, March 19th from 8:30 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. So even though it's all day, you will still get recordings to our different speaker events. So I know people are busy. They may have commitments during the day, but we are open during these times. And when you register, like I said, you'll get links to the different recordings as they're available. And of course, when I mentioned that this meeting is online, it'll be through Zoom. So that way it's accessible to wherever you are. So it's basically, so if you've never been to a mini conference before, it's basically an event in which we have several speakers give presentations about various TechCom topics. And it can run the gamut from techniques, tools, what have you. So it's just a great opportunity to hear people's experiences. And depending on the level of interactivity, people get to share their own experiences as well within the presentations. So not only does the presenter get to learn, you all learn as well. And anything that we want to mention about the mini conference before that's not related to the call for proposals, since we'll cover that in a little bit?
One of the things we'll be doing is we'll be opening up a Discord channel for the mini conference so that attendees can chit chat through Discord while watching the presentations. I hope while watching the presentations and not instead of watching the presentations, but it's another way for attendees to talk and chit chat and network with each other.
Yes, and I'm a fan of the animated GIFs in Discord.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
I will also say, I think we did have one before COVID. So we had one in 2019 that was in person, but this will be
just about to say this
is
I was just about to say this is our fourth.
Yeah.
Because we had one before COVID and then the last two have been virtual.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be fourth annual.
Yeah. Fourth annual.
All right.
This will be the third virtual though, because
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll make sure we correct that. So it's our fourth annual mini conference. So whether it's live or in person, it's still mini conference.
Yeah.
And I will say this
third annual virtual mini conference.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And we of course are able to reach a broader scope of people now that we're doing it virtually. So I think, we'll probably keep it virtual, I would think. Or do we have any plans to reach in person?
Not yet. I would say not yet. Who knows how COVID's going to behave? But even then, but COVID aside,
even without COVID.
Yeah, this is still great to get people from all over to just spend the day with us. And speaking of Discord, it's also a great way of reaching out to ask questions about the presentation. If you get a burning question afterwards, or if you're watching the recording, you can always ask, and that way we have that general conversation. So it's just a great way to, keep on the conversation even when we're out of the Zoom environment. So our fourth annual mini conference, our third virtual conference, is Saturday, March 19th, all day online via Zoom. And as a special surprise, for those who register, you will be put into a drawing for one free STC Summit registration. So if you're planning to go to Summit in May in Chicago, this is a great opportunity to not only get education here, but also get that chance to go to the national conference. And so speaking of conference, I remember Noel Atzmiller, who presented last year at our mini conference, is going to share his experience with his presentation experience.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and stop share and go ahead and pick up your.
Share my screen.
Yes, sir.
Bang, bang.
All right.
Bang.
Perfect.
Come on now. Okay. I want to take a few minutes now and talk about my experience in giving a presentation at one of the recent mini conferences. And I hope the information that I share encourages everyone to consider presenting at the 2022 mini conference or a mini conference in the future. In 2021, I gave a presentation about teaching technical writing to engineers. Oh, there are about who knows how many present, but it was well received. And from this experience, I want to convey three impressions that I had from that. First of all, it was enjoyable. It also was challenging. And of course, it was very rewarding. It was enjoyable for several reasons. First, I had the freedom to choose the topic I wanted to present. Sure, excuse me, there were guidelines about the topic selection and some suggestions that were given beforehand, but basically I had pretty much the choice of a topic that I wanted as long as it was pertinent to the conference itself. In addition, I was encouraged by the council to get information that would directly help technical communicators. That's something that I enjoy doing. And so my focus was on not just expounding information, but information that would definitely help people. And along the line of sharing, I was presenting in a benign environment. And I want to stress this. The people at the Admin Council are wonderful. They answered questions that I had very quickly. They came up with some suggestions. They helped out with the mechanics of the presentation. It went smoothly primarily because of them. And I want to encourage you to remember this if you compose and present your presentation at an upcoming mini conference. It was also enjoyable for another reason. It was a virtual presentation. In a virtual presentation, I had no concerns that I would normally have had it been for an in-person presentation, which I have done many. For example, at a virtual presentation, I did not concern myself with the room lighting. At an in-person presentation, you have to make sure that the room is lit well, that the glare doesn't destroy the screen display, that everybody can see well enough to write, that type of thing. At an in-person presentation, you have to be concerned about seating arrangements. Can everybody see me as I'm standing up there on the podium? Presentation legibility is a real concern at a in-person presentation. Is the monitor big enough? Can people see in the back of the room? Can they actually see the presentation? And of course, then there's the mechanics. Will my laptop interface correctly with the projector? Is the projector going to work? What if the projector bulb is burned out? How about the sound system? All these concerns are mechanically. Don't have to be concerned about that in a virtual presentation. And that's made it much more easy to convey the information and much more enjoyable too. However, it was challenging because there are significant differences in a virtual presentation compared to an in-person presentation. For a virtual presentation, you have no idea really what the audience is doing. You are looking at your slides, they are looking at your slides, you hope. At an in-person presentation, you can see what they're doing, whether they're answering emails, whether they're writing something, whether they're asleep. But at a virtual presentation, you do not know. You do not even know if they're in the room looking at your presentation. Another difference is at a virtual presentation, you lack the ability to use gestures, facial expressions, and body language to convey information. At an in-person presentation, these are your key attributes. Unfortunately, unless you have your face shown in a presentation in a corner at an inset, people can't see you. You cannot have access to these key components. Another problem or situation rather with a virtual presentation, you have no idea what kind of environment the audience has. They may have a disorganized, chaotic room in which they're trying to view this presentation. A lot of distractions, a lot of concerns, things going on. You do not know if their equipment's working correctly, whether they can hear you, whether they can see you very well. Now, I don't want to discourage you here because even though you do not have direct control over these things, you can still have a successful virtual presentation. And the key to that is planning. Before producing your presentation, I recommend a couple of things. First, write down on a piece of paper, what is your core message of your presentation? What is the main thing you want people to remember? If they walk away and turn off their computer and someone were to come up to them and say, what was the main idea that this person was presenting? You got to drive that point home so people can remember it. And then with this core message in place, you craft your presentation, you develop your slides so that it bolsters or conveys this core message. And speaking of the slides, make sure that every slide you produce and show has useful information on it. We're not interested in frivolity here. We're not interested in things that do not apply. Only put things there that are directly involved that can help somebody, and give great concern and consideration to the clarity of the slide. Make sure your slide is not cluttered. Make sure the message can get across very quickly, that type of thing. And thirdly, I would recommend practice your slide presentation enough that you know it well enough that you can present it with enthusiasm. Many people will be much more drawn to and interested in your presentation if they hear somebody who's giving it, who obviously is enthusiastic about the topic. Now, what's the next item? The fact that my presentation I've experienced was rewarding, and it will be rewarding to you also. And here's why. Either during the presentation, if you choose to do so, or at the end of the presentation, you will be given the opportunity to field questions. The people in the audience will ask you questions. Now, this is good because it means that people were paying attention, you piqued their interest, they want some more information from you. I found this to be very rewarding. I could then expound on, when I asked questions after my presentation, I could give more details. I could chase a rabbit down the road and talk about a certain thing that they wanted to talk about that I didn't directly mention in my presentation. So this is very rewarding. Another thing that you're likely to see and hear from your presentation, probably after, compliments. You will probably receive sincere compliments from people after your presentation because they realize that you went through a great effort to compose the presentation, to practice it, to get it in shape, and then, of course, then to give it. Another very useful, rewarding reality after giving your presentation, you can get some mileage out of it, so to speak, by mentioning it, if you wish, on your resume that you have presented. You are an accomplished presenter. Or if you have a LinkedIn profile, you can place on that profile page the fact that you have given a presentation at an STC chapter mini conference, something very useful to you. Now that's about it from what I have to say. I wanted to make sure that I shared the information, and I hope it encourages you to consider presenting at this mini conference. If you have any questions about what I have described, or if you have questions about the Discord server, the STC in general, that type of thing, you can contact me, or if you want to contact the council directly, I can direct you to that information, because the people in the admin council are more than willing to help you out to make your presentation a very big success. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you for sharing your experience with all of us. You've given us some really good pointers and lots of encouragement to, get our feet wet with presenting. And furthermore, you'll also get a link to your presentation. So if you need to show examples of your work, you have that available as well. So that's another thing to add to your online portfolio.
Mm-hmm. I'll go ahead and stop sharing now.
Thank you.
Take it away, Jamie.
All right. So now that you're excited about what Noel's just talked about, let's chat a little bit about call for proposals. So let me share my screen again. And we have our call for proposals. So as Noel mentioned, this is a great chance to bolster your resume. And it's also a wonderful opportunity to hone your presentation skills. And most importantly, share what you know with others. Now you're thinking, do I know enough about this subject? If you're passionate about it, and if it's something you do, you're bringing this from your own perspective. So yes, you have every right to share your knowledge with others. So if you feel this urge to want to share your TechCom information with others in the form of a presentation, visit the website that's listed here on the slide, the mini conference call for proposals for details. So there you will learn what sort of topics we're looking for, basically anything related to technical communications. So we provide several examples. We also indicate how to submit your proposal, and it's a very painless process. It's basically describing what you're going to talk about and such. And so the website will have details on how to do that. And the proposals are due on February 18th. So you have a little less than 2 weeks to get your proposals in. So once we get proposals in, we'll then review them, and then we will let people know if their proposals have been accepted or not. So again, this is a great opportunity to share what you know with others.
And if I may,
Go ahead.
the proposals for your presentation are due on February 18th. That does not mean that the presentation has to be complete by that time, for those of you that work like I do.
Thanks for clarifying, Erica. Yeah, this is just when you're submitting your proposal, it's basically the idea, and then you have the appropriate time to hone your presentation to develop it. And even if you don't get accepted for the mini conference, we may reach out in the future for other opportunities. So you never know. But this is just an opportunity for you to, again, share your knowledge with others. And so now that we've covered call for proposals, we want to let you know what's coming up next month in the Land of South Central Texas chapter. So on March 9th, we'll have our chapter meeting on Tuesday, March 9th at 6:30. Our featured presentation will be the original remote instructors, ID lessons, instructional design, lessons from TV's greatest teachers by Catherine Wexel. And I've seen her presentation before, and it's phenomenal. So y'all are in for a real treat. And then, of course, on Saturday, March 19th is our mini conference, which we've talked about. So be on the lookout for emails and social media posts about these awesome events coming up. And so now I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And let me just move this little doohickey so I can do that. Stop recording. Yes.